Fascinating Frontiers, episode 103. It's June 16th, 2026. Some fascinating developments to cover today. China's Tianwen-2 probe is executing a string of fine burns to reach its target asteroid next month. China's Tianwen-2 spacecraft performed multiple small propulsive maneuvers after its main burn on June 7. Radio tracking confirms the adjustments are positioning the probe for an asteroid rendezvous in July. The sequence follows standard practice for fine-tuning arrival trajectories at small solar system bodies. Engineers will monitor the remaining corrections through the final approach phase. Next data releases are expected once the spacecraft nears its target distance. If the Sun were scaled to the size of a basketball in Vancouver, the asteroid belt would lie roughly as far away as a single grain of sand on a beach in Halifax. Tianwen-2's recent burns illustrate how spacecraft reach such tiny targets across hundreds of millions of kilometers. A main engine firing first drops the probe onto an intercept trajectory, after which a series of much smaller thruster pulses, each lasting only seconds, correct for tiny errors in position and velocity. These adjustments are measured by radio signals that travel at the speed of light and return with timing precision measured in microseconds. The final approach must occur within a window measured in tens of kilometers. Otherwise, the relative speed will carry the spacecraft past its target forever. Scientists still cannot predict exactly how much residual propellant will remain after the last correction, leaving open the question of whether future missions can safely attempt a second rendezvous if the first attempt is missed. SpaceX completed a funding round that brought total capital raised to $85.7 billion. The round included a 20% increase in share value and exercise of the green shoe option. Proceeds will support ongoing vehicle development and constellation expansion. The valuation now places the company's market capitalization above $2.5 trillion. Investors are watching how the capital deploys across Starship and Starlink programs. From the precise navigation needed to reach small bodies, we turn to what another spacecraft is revealing about the atmospheres of distant worlds. The James Webb Space Telescope captured detailed atmospheric data showing silicate clouds that condense into ruby and sapphire rain. Observations reveal temperature contrasts and wind patterns driving the unusual precipitation cycle. The planet's atmosphere contains high-altitude clouds composed of minerals that would be gems on Earth. With its unprecedented observational quality, JWST gives us the most detailed glimpses into distant planets to date. Follow-up spectra are planned to track cloud evolution over multiple orbits. The JWST observations of a distant exoplanet show silicate clouds condensing into gemstone rain on the night side, while strong winds redistribute heat. The data separate the planet's thermal emission from reflected starlight across a full orbit, revealing that earlier models had placed the cloud deck too high. Refined temperature profiles now match the measured radius and suggest the atmosphere is more transparent on the day side than expected. Follow-up programs will track whether similar mineral clouds appear on other highly irradiated worlds. While JWST is refining our view of one exoplanet's atmosphere, other researchers are correcting long-standing assumptions about another. Researchers used phase curve observations to separate dayside and nightside atmospheric signals on a hot Jupiter. The asymmetric pattern showed that standard models had overestimated cloud coverage on one hemisphere. Correcting for the asymmetry produced a revised temperature-pressure profile consistent with the planet's measured radius. The method relies on continuous monitoring across a full orbit. Future observations will test whether the same correction applies to other inflated giants. From distant exoplanet atmospheres, we move closer to home, where a long-ago human milestone is being revisited. 63 years ago today, Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman to reach space aboard Vostok 6. Her single-orbit mission lasted just under 3 days and included manual orientation tests. The flight demonstrated that a non-pilot could operate a spacecraft under weightlessness. Tereshkova's call sign, Seagull, remains part of Russian space lore. Archival footage and mission logs are being re-examined for training insights. Luca Parmitano described seeing Australian bushfires from the International Space Station during a recent interview. The observations occurred while the fires burned across large areas of the continent. Parmitano noted the smoke plumes were visible even at night due to their thermal signature. The account adds to the record of crew Earth observation contributions during long-duration flights. Similar reports are expected from future Artemis crews. 60 years after that pioneering flight, another cargo mission is wrapping up its own stay in orbit. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft supporting CRS-34 will undock from the International Space Station today, after 30 days. Live coverage will track the departure and subsequent deorbit burn. The capsule carries experiment samples and station hardware for return to Earth. Splashdown is scheduled in the Pacific within 24 hours of undocking. Recovery teams are already positioned for post-landing retrieval. A new analysis describes Saturn's moon Titan as holding vast stores of natural gas and liquid water beneath its surface. The reserves are likened to a Persian Gulf of space in scale. Data come from Cassini radar and infrared measurements combined with recent climate models. The findings refine estimates of how much methane and ethane cycle through Titan's lakes and atmosphere. Future missions could sample these reservoirs directly. While one spacecraft heads home, another is preparing to head outward. Astrobotic unveiled its Griffin 1 lander ahead of environmental testing in California. The mission, now called Moonbase 2 under NASA's CLIPS program, carries multiple payloads. Launch remains scheduled for late 2026. The lander will undergo vibration and thermal vacuum trials before shipment to the launch site. Results from these tests will determine final flight software uploads. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory will open its campus to the public on October 10 and 11 to mark its 90th anniversary. Visitors can tour iconic facilities and explore 4 thematic areas covering past missions and future plans. The event runs from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time each day. Registration details will be released closer to the date. Similar open houses have drawn tens of thousands of attendees in prior years. An Earth-observing satellite captured the Nebraska Sandhills, the largest dune system in the Western Hemisphere. The dunes cover roughly 1/4 of the state and remain active under prevailing winds. The image highlights seasonal vegetation patterns across the rolling terrain. Scientists use such views to track changes in dune migration and groundwater recharge. Comparable dune fields on other planets are studied with the same remote sensing techniques. From upcoming lunar missions, we shift to a striking sight visible in tonight's evening sky. This evening, the moon passes 3 degrees north of Mercury, creating a visible triangle with Jupiter low in the western sky. Observers can watch the alignment for roughly an hour after sunset. Mercury reached greatest eastern elongation yesterday, its farthest point from the sun in the evening sky. The geometry offers a brief window to spot the innermost planet without optical aid. No further alignments of this trio are expected until next month. Space Exploration announced an all-stock merger valued at $60 billion with Cursor. The transaction would combine satellite and software operations under a single listed entity. Regulatory filings are expected in the coming weeks. Shareholders will vote on the deal later this year. The merger follows the company's recent NASDAQ listing. Space Exploration Technologies Corporation has been included in the NASDAQ Telecom Index. The addition reflects the company's growing role in satellite communications infrastructure. Index rebalancing takes effect at the next quarterly review. Fund managers tracking the index will adjust holdings accordingly. The move follows the firm's recent public listing. Shares of Space Exploration Technologies Corporation climbed 20% overnight following confirmation of increased IPO proceeds. Market capitalization now exceeds $2.5 trillion. The surge occurred after the company exercised its green shoe option. Trading volume remained elevated through the session. Analysts are monitoring whether the valuation holds through the merger process. Keep an eye on the next round of phase curve data from JWST, which may show whether similar cloud corrections apply to other hot Jupiters. That's Fascinating Frontiers for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for exploring with me, and I'll see you next time. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at RT, NERA Network. Links in the show notes. And before you go, this show is part of the NERA Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Environmental Intelligence a listen, the Environment and Climate Policy Brief for Canada. You can explore the whole lineup at neuronetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.
Drifting softly through